Hello, my name is Elena Malloy, and I will be discussing a case study uh, that is using tacting skills and different types of class and derived classes for the similar stimuli. And I will be discussing the things that are on the BCBA's 5th edition task list. To give you some background, my client is a 3-year-old male who has limited verbal skills. He is able to request using 1 or 2 words and is only able to label things that he highly prefers, like ball, cars. He lives with parents, biological parents, and sibling. He is the middle child. And parents' goal is to increase his verbal behavior, or verbal skills, excuse me. To start off, I want to explain what verbal operant is. According to the task list, verbal operant is, we need to define it and provide examples. So verbal operant is a kind of verbal behavior. They're not defined by how they appear. How you learn about the verbal things is in school is nouns, verbs, adverbs, etc. But rather how they function. What purpose do they serve? So Skinner identified several types of verbal operant: manding, requesting, tact, labeling, and we will be using tacting later on. Echo, you would repeat what is being said. Interverbal is you would complete a fill-in, or you will respond to what was said before. So if I said, "How are you?" you would say "good." Or if I would say, "5 little monkeys jumping on a," and you would say "bed." That would be an example of fill-in. Textual, you are reading something. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are comprehending what you are reading, but you're able to read it. Transcriptive, you are writing down what is being heard, and copying a text is, if you see a dog, you would write down dog. Or if you see the word cat somewhere, you would write the word cat. Stimulus class is a group of stimuli that share a specific common element. It could be the form, temporal, or function. So an example that I have in my life is my street is filled with cars. Both sides have cars on it. Different sizes, makes, models, colors, some are even trucks, but they would all fall under the same classification as a car or a vehicle because they drive on the road. They have at least 2 wheels, because if we wanted to, we could include motorcycles in this vehicles if we wanted to. If we wanted to be really specific, they have a motor and they get you from place A to B. So that's how they would fall underneath the same classification. Derived stimulus relations are basically you teach a client one thing and we're hopeful that they will be able to understand that relations somewhere else. So if I teach a client that this is a book, and they would be able to label, this is a book, this is a book. But if I were to show them that this is a book also. So they would learn, this is what a book is, this is what a book is. But they could also learn that this is also a book. And I could not teach them that this is a book, and they could just come to my library and say book. They could look at all of these and say book. That is what we're hoping for, and I will explain each type of relations in the next slide. So the first one is reflective, which is identical matching. So if I had 2 of the same books, I would present them to the client and I would ask them to match. And I would continue to do that until they were able to completely understand and master that these are the same. This book and this book are the same. So Symmetric is independently able to teach and learn that this is the book, this is a book. I might have to teach them that this is a book and this is a book and have to match it that way. But hopefully they would be able to still be able to learn that A equals B. A equals B. They're the same thing. Transitive occurs when they realize that A equals B, B equals C, and C equals A. Because they are all the same things, but I do not have to explicitly teach them that C equals A. So I wanted to discuss tacting with you. So tacting is labeling objects in your real world. So like I just did previously with a book, I'm going to use an example of apple. I present this picture to a client and I say apple, 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 and I keep repeating it until the client is able to echo it back. I take the picture away and I represent it later into the session and I say, what's this? The client is able to identify it as apple. They see this apple and I keep presenting it across multiple sessions until we meet the mastery criteria, which is 80% over 3 sessions. So now I'm going to present a different picture of an apple. In the next slide, I will show you several different pictures of apples. I would not be showing the client all of these pictures at once. If anything, I would pick the 3 apples at the top. They look similar to the original picture I showed them, but because they are real pictures, but they are just different colors. So I would show them to him and I would say, what's this? Hopefully he would be able to identify it and say apple. So then I would, once again, we meet the criteria, I would then present a different type of apple. I could make him an apple out of Play-Doh at the bottom, like the bottom one. I could show him the computer laptop apple. I would keep showing him different stimuli that all have to do with apple. So that way he would be able to master the idea of what apple is and is able to identify it in different forms in different places in his environment until the point where he's going up to mom or grandma and asking for apple, or not asking for it. He sees it on the counter and says apple. I hope I was able to explain the task list items of verbal operant, class stimuli, and derived stimuli relations. And you enjoyed my presentation of tacting apples and books. All right, thank you guys. Have a great night.